Let's take a look at the population growth curve for living organisms. It's going to be divided into 4 phases, and we'll label this little chart here. So first, I want you to take a look at this vertical axis, the y-axis here. This is where the number of organisms alive is going to be plotted. Here on the horizontal axis at the very bottom, the x-axis, you would see time. So that's the time needed to grow the bacteria. So let's take a look at what happens to the bacteria over time. The very first phase here is called the lag phase. Okay, so lag means to linger. So that's what's happening. The bacteria are just absorbing their nutrients. They're making some enzymes. They're really getting ready for cell division to occur soon. Binary fission will begin, but right now it hasn't started because there's no increase in number. Okay, but this phase doesn't last very long. The next phase is the log phase. And in this log phase, we notice an exponential growth. It becomes more and more rapid. So this is when the bacteria are really multiplying rapidly fast. The number of organisms is doubling with each generational time. So the growth rate here is going to be the greatest. Now, eventually they're going to get to a point where they kind of plateau, which is the stationary phase. Okay, so the nutrients are going to be used up. The toxic waste is starting to build up. The cell division or the binary fission is starting to slow down. Now there's an equal number of bacteria that are dividing but also dying. Okay, that's the plateau or the stationary phase. And the culture is going to be at its greatest population density at this point. So we have a high number of bacteria, but in a very small surface area. Remember, we're talking about a dish. Okay, so there's a bit of overcrowding happening. There's a lot of waste still being produced, not enough nutrients for all the bacteria. So they begin to start dying at a rapid rate when they hit the death phase or the decline phase. Okay, so remember, we're talking about a dish or a broth. So that's a very constricted environment. It has limited resources. It wouldn't be like this if we were talking about nature. And if the bacteria could produce spores, which is a survival mechanism, they could probably survive beyond the decline phase or the death phase, right? Because that's the whole purpose of a spore, is to survive when the environment isn't conducive for survival. Now, one thing I've also noticed with students, they always screw up lag phase and log phase. So perhaps just think they're in alphabetical order. LA for lag comes before LO for log. And I hope that helps you understand population growth curve.